Oh, welcome to this oh so bitter split the difference. Oh god, I'm your host Jesse. Today we have the horror whore Hope.
Uh, I there's a reason I hadn't watched these films before today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Pitchmaster General, Seth. How you doing?
I too have a death wish now.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna start this out with this episode. Um, Never ever watch either one of these movies. Never.
we we did it for you.
We
We did it
did.
for you. We're just going through. People are asking, "Oh, they remade this. Should I watch the remake?" No, and you shouldn't watch the original. Good night, everybody.
Peace. Exit.
Peace. Yeah. So yeah, we should probably do more than that.
Well,
All
so
right.
do you guys want to talk about Monkey Man instead?
I haven't
Yes.
seen it yet. I didn't get the time yet. Oh god damn it.
Damn.
All right. So we're talking about Death Witch, the original film from 1974, directed by Michael Winner, who was a fucking asshole. Versus the 2018 remake, directed by Eli Roth, who's also an asshole.
Woo.
So
We're batting 100, baby.
God.
oh man, we're gonna be spitting some venom on this one. All right, so let's get into it. So yeah, vigilantism in film is really difficult to do
Yeah.
because you have to have the right political sensibilities regarding it. Do either one of these movies land correctly at all?
About that.
I
These are
I would-
basically carbon copies because they're both based on a book of the same name, although the subject matter and moral tone of the book is that vigilantism is bad for society. Both these movies say no, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
wow.
So, yeah,
A
totally
reverse
the
Starship
inverse.
Troopers.
To the point where the original writer of the book was horribly offended by the movie when it came out.
Mm.
So yeah,
What is unsatire? What is the
Yeah.
opposite of satire?
It's Death Wish. The opposite of satire is power fantasy, which is what these two films are.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
It's so who's the main character in the original? Glenn
Paul Kersey.
Paul
Paul
Kersey.
Kersey.
no,
It's
his name.
the actor Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson. So I'm going from with Charles Bronson. I loved him in The Dirty Dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Loved him in that. And I'm going like I have this picture in my mind of him from that movie, and then I see him in this and I'm like, bro,
Yeah. Yeah.
you were better as a war criminal doing fucked up shit in The Dirty Dozen than you are in here. What
Right.
the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually said before Hope had to watch these, I said there's instances of sexual assault in this original film, and I was like, yeah, just be careful. It's rough. And it gets worse and worse apparently as the series goes on. There's 5 of these original movies, and then there's the remake.
I was
Wow.
talking to Seth about that. Because I was looking it up and I'm like, I kind of figured there'd be at least one more like to the series, but I was like, five? How are there 5?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it gets even worse in the second one because the second one apparently I've never seen any more beyond this first one and the remake. The second one, apparently the daughter who's mentally disturbed in the second one, she's also gets raped. Yeah, while she's in like a comatose state, it's really, really fucked up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
then
wow, this
it's
is so over the
yeah,
line.
and then it's like in the third one, it's the daughter of his new girlfriend, and then like
Yeah, like Michael Winner, there's various interviews. There's a documentary called Electric Boogaloo, the wild untold story of Canon Films. I don't believe Canon produced this first one, as far as I'm aware. Um, did they do that? No, they did not do this first film. It was not Canon. It was it was Paramount Pictures. Wow, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ! Star Trek and Paramount. Wow, how about that? Star Trek and Death Wish under the same roof. That's interesting. Um,
gotta cover
yeah,
all bases now.
cover all their bases. So yeah, the Canon Group actually inherited the rights to the Death Wish franchise, so they made 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the budgets went down and down and down, and they got cheaper and cheaper as they went along, apparently. But Michael Winner was the director of the first 3, and he in that documentary Electric Boogaloo, he is actively criticized as being a gross, disgusting, horrible human being. Marina Sirtis actively criticizes his directing style. He was horrible to women on set. He was a gross sex pervert. It's like, yeah, this is not a good person.
Ew.
Yeah,
Lovely.
he's not a good person. Alex Winter, who also had a little bit in the third Death Wish film, good old Bill from Bill and Ted,
Yeah.
he called him a horrible piece of shit human being. Like, yeah.
If damn, if the guys whose whole thing is like be cool to each other can't absolutely stand you, you must be fucking up bad.
Yeah. Michael Winter was an enormous asshole. An enormous asshole.
Dude, that really
Thankfully,
repaints
he is.
so many of these scenes
Yeah.
more harshly to understand that like that's what's happening behind the camera. And then to
Yeah.
Right.
see what he's putting in front of the camera, it's like, ugh.
Hmm.
Well, this original movie is basically about is about a waspy upper class socialite has his family raped and murdered and goes on a killing rampage against poor, non-white individuals in New York. I think it's meant to kind of be a reaction to the crime wave of the 1970s in New
Yeah.
York, but they did it in totally the wrong way because it leaves out all the political elements of, hey, maybe if people actually had housing and they actually had decent jobs and the
Right.
economy wasn't floundering and Vietnam wasn't going on, maybe there wouldn't be so much crime.
Mm.
It leaves
Yeah.
all that out and just says, no, if rich white people want to go shoot black people, it should be fine. It basically makes that statement.
Well,
If
not only
you're
will it be
rich,
fine, it will reduce crime.
yeah, oh yeah, and the
Right.
cops actively encourage it. Yeah,
Right. And the fact of the matter is, in the original, it's not even like they're all white dudes
yeah, it's all white
that did
people.
the no, I'm saying like who did the original crime.
The perpetrators.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So it's like you're not even going after the right people. Like what
yeah,
the fuck?
yeah. It was really disappointing seeing Jeff Goldblum in this original film as
I
as one of the rapists. I'm
know.
like, oh man, come on.
Dude.
So I looked at the credits
The
and
credits in this are fucking wild.
no. I looked at this and Jeff Goldblum's character is literally freak number 1.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm like, that's a great character, freak number 1.
yeah, yeah. God. Okay, so yeah, Seth, describe your viewing experience of this original film. You'd seen the remake, you'd never seen the original. Is that right?
No, so I had seen the original
You
like
had seen it.
very, very, very long time ago on television. It was like a cut for TV version. So
Oh well,
Mm.
like 90% of the movie's gone.
yeah, it's okay. Here's my experience watching this movie. I was waiting for that satire to drop, like knowing that the
Mm,
is looking at this through the lens of this is not a good thing to be doing. If that had been the point of the film, if the idea is look at the psychosis of this little white man who can do nothing to protect his family against
Right.
crime in the world, and that could have been a great idea. The movie instead executes as an adult child who can't process grief,
mhm,
telling the story of an adult child who can't process grief.
Mhm.
yeah.
Like this is it. This is obviously a very immature director to be treating people this way. Like you're not a mature person to then make your story about this like power fantasy trip where everything works out great. Yeah,
Mhm,
Right.
he takes one minor injury that makes him look more badass, right?
yeah.
Like everything about this is the internal narrative of a sad little white man going, "This is what I would do to stop crime," as he sits on the bus clutching his bag, scared of everyone around him. Like that's the impression I'm getting from this movie.
Yeah.
Like it is a pearl clutching man who's like, "Yeah, this is what I would do in crime situations."
Yeah, it
So
reminds me of my old no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say last episode we did Hairspray, and I was gonna say Penny's mother had more balls than this dude.
Oh my god.
God, yeah. Yeah.
Divine's Death Wish? We're pitching
Oh,
something else here
Jesus.
right now.
God, yeah. This guy reminds me of my old boss back when I was a personal trainer who was a massive right-wing scumbag. When the whole Freddie Gray thing happened in Baltimore, his reaction to it
no.
was the only thing that would solve this problem is 50 caliber machine guns on every street corner. That was his reaction. Not
That
like,
is
"Oh, let's arrest the cops that, murdered people." It's just, "Oh, let's just put guns on every street corner." Like, that's
we've
the reaction.
we've discovered why there's 5 of these. It's because guys like that exist and watch this movie and go, "That was fucking badass. This is a classic. This is an absolute classic."
It's those cocksuckers. Yeah, those pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say that I would encourage anybody to watch regarding the Death Wish series is the Red Letter Media Christmas episode where they watch Death Wish 3. That's the only thing I would, because it's funny as fuck when they just make fun of it. It's the only thing I would recommend.
Mm.
Yeah. That's it. Like, this original movie is, even though it's a power fantasy, the action isn't shot particularly well.
Oh, it's very pedestrian.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
very basic. It's all front lighting. It's all flat and bland. It's, performances are like, ugh. The pacing's not great. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be a short episode because we're just gonna be talking shit on these things. Let's
We
just
haven't
let's
even
just
gotten
dump
to the
on them.
Eli Roth part.
We
Yet.
haven't even gotten to that one. It's
We
like,
haven't,
yeah,
no.
yeah. It's
The
the
only I would say thing that makes the original somewhatly any way, shape, form better is
mm,
I feel as though his like life in Mr. Kersey's life in the original just made more sense. Like he's an architect, of
yeah,
course, and then whereas in the remake, he's a surgeon. Like no surgeon who swore an oath to do no harm
yeah,
They didn't
is
even
good.
utilize his surgical abilities well in the movie.
yeah.
So like and like the backstory of Paul Kersey in the original too, like, oh, I used to actually be a hunter with my dad. And I
Yeah.
stopped
Yeah,
because of X, Y, and Z. I was like, okay, at least that makes a little bit more sense of a build up backstory than whatever the fuck was in the remake.
yeah, yeah. I mean, God damn it. So I mean, this really, I really think this is the thing that inspired the Punisher very much. Inspired the Punisher. Let me check when the Punisher actually first debuted. Check that
I
real
I
quick.
think he's a much older character.
yeah,
I want to say he's 60s or something.
This feels like the stuff that inspired the 90s runs of the Punisher. Like this feels
Maybe.
like
Oh, first appearance, Amazing Spider-Man number 129, February 1974. When did this
came
Death
out a
Wish come
year
out?
later.
Release date July 24th, 1974. Ooh, the Punisher
Parallel
predates
shipping.
this.
we're,
Yeah,
we're talking about a bit. Vigilantes are on the mind at the time, right? It's like the
yeah,
cops aren't doing anything about the crime. Shocker, they're criminals themselves.
yeah.
And
If you're gonna protect corporate head honchos that got away with stealing everybody's money, you're not a cop. You're a mafia goon with a badge, and that badge isn't even real silver. You fucking pig. But yeah, the point of that Jerry Conway, when he created the Punisher, he was trying to do what the book says of Death Wish, is that it's not helping.
right,
Mm-hmm.
Frank Castle isn't making things better. He actively makes it worse, and he ruins his
Right.
life doing it.
right.
That's the point. And then everybody took it and ran with it, and we end up with Punisher stories where it's like, oh no, killing all these people makes crime go down. It's like, but does it?
No.
It really doesn't, because if you take one guy out, like two more come in to fill the power vacuum.
Right.
It doesn't actually work.
And that's why some vigilanteisms like Batman work a little bit better because he does work hand in hand with Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah,
He never actually kills people. So like
unless it's Zack Snyder, then it's okay.
Well,
but like in the original run he would never actually kill. He would lock them up, so they would still be there. There'd be a little bit of a void because they'd be locked up, but they wouldn't be like gone.
Yeah,
And also the fact that Batman originally was a detective. It was called
yeah,
Detective
exactly.
Comics.
yeah,
He was a
yeah,
detective first, vigilante second.
yeah,
And that's like the proper way to go about it.
Kersey's doing no detective work in
That's
this.
what I'm saying.
yeah.
This,
He
this
he
is
he.
On
he
site, bro. I just hate the look of you.
this is where Batman is, and he went whoop, just
Right.
straight
Yeah.
down.
I mean, the
Straight
original,
down.
the very first run of Batman, he did have guns and he did shoot and kill people, but they did retcon that away. and they've stuck to
Right.
that pretty well ever since
Well,
then.
and again, like
Exactly.
if you're doing your investigation, if you're showing me that your vigilante is somebody that's not just a hitman on the streets,
Right.
assassinating people, but like somebody that's actually doing his homework, I'm fine with him having a gun. Honestly, I don't even hate a Batman that kills if it's right to the story.
You talking about Dexter early seasons?
True. Yeah, yeah. That's another
Sure.
setup version. That's like at least he's going after the right person. We don't, as an audience,
Mhm.
we don't have to question that. You can't watch either Death Wish really. I think the newer one does a little bit of a better job, but specifically the original, it is like this is wanton murder. Like we are
Mhm.
watching
Yeah.
a serial killer. This is a movie
Yeah.
about a serial killer.
No, straight
Let's be
up.
very
Straight up.
Yeah.
clear.
Compare this to Maniac. It's kind of similar. There's
Pa-
definitely connections.
and
Same
he's
general time frame.
Patrick Bateman is doing exactly this shit. We just get to see his mania. You know what I mean? We get to see
Right.
inside of
Yeah.
his head.
Yeah. If it actually did happen, we don't know.
And
So
and I'd prefer that than knowing that for sure Paul Kersey is just gunning people down in the streets.
yeah, he
Yeah.
actively entraps people. He'll like lure them to an area and actively entrap them, committing a crime in and of himself to then commit another crime of murder. It's like,
And I
and
wish the
this is the
movie was
hero of the
aware.
story.
I wish the movie
Right.
was aware of this to be pointing it out and being like, "This is fucked up. Don't do this."
Yeah, this is really, really, really fucked
Oh.
up.
Even our newest incarnation of Batman has a scene dedicated to the idea of picking up the wrong guy, right? Like
Yeah.
Penguin,
Yeah,
like pointing out, "Hey, also you guys are stupid and don't know Spanish," which is weird for the world's greatest detective. But hey, you picked up the
yeah, his
wrong
detective
guy.
work in that movie, now that I think about it, is not that great.
Little
It's pretty
shoddy,
bad.
little
Little
shoddy.
messy.
It was his origins, he was
He's
still
young.
learning.
I can
Yeah, he's
accept. I can,
young. I'll let it
and the
slide. It's
movie,
fine.
the movie points out the fuck up, so it is an important part of his character instead of it being a plot hole. It is part
Mhm.
of the plot that he fucked up. And
It's how he grows. It's showing his
yeah,
growth at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
The reason the detective is more important than the killer, and that's
Mhm.
dude. Death Wish does not care to even talk about that. It doesn't
Yeah.
even want to whisper in that direction.
The only growth he gets as a character by the end of this story is that he gets a bigger gun. That's it. That's it. And that's how the Death Wish series eventually progresses, apparently. Eventually he's getting like like M60 machine guns and rocket launchers.
Oh,
It's
I
insane.
I read the description for like the third or the fourth one or whatever, and it's like the cops actually hire him back.
That's the third one. That's the third one.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
third one.
They
So
hire
it's
him
like
to basically kill all the bad guys in one like 3-block radius of
right.
Lower East Side. And I'm like, what? Why can't you do this? Why do you need him?
No,
It's like,
actually, I could stop Alda Quime. I alone could get Alda Quime off the streets.
oh god, it's ridiculous. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so this original film, and it's not enjoyable, it's not fun, it's gross, it's disgusting, it's misogynistic, it's hateful.
I love that you say it's not fun. I want to point out my issue with both of these movies is they
Yeah.
end on a comedy note. Like
Yeah.
the pointing, the finger gun, like all
Yeah.
of that is, and the fact that
Pew!
I'm sure it's intended to be kind of like foreboding, like, I'm gonna get you next, like in the original, but in the remake, it is a joke.
this is meant to be a joke. They send him from New York to Chicago. This
Yeah.
is again, if we're thinking about this from the mindset of a scared little white man, going to Chicago is looking at the camera going, "Oh no, not another one." That is straight up what this movie is doing here. And then it
Yeah.
doubles down and goes, "Finger guns, we're just going to keep it up in this city." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It's still going. Yeah.
no lesson has been learned here, and it wants you to think that this is a funny way to end it.
Yeah. Imagine if it was a black man in the lead role, the cops would have arrested him. But because it's a white man, he gets away with it.
John Carpenter's Death Wish.
Yeah. Oh no, Jordan Peele's Death Wish.
Ooh.
Ooh, that'd be good. That I could see. That would be pretty good. Yeah, but I don't think
But also Jordan Peele would be a lot more calculated.
that's what I'm saying. Like he would
I mean,
actually understand how to do this correctly.
Jordan Peele's got a revenge movie with like social themes in theaters as we're speaking. So
Yeah. Hope you've seen it, Seth. You've seen it, Monkey Man.
yeah.
I've heard it's not really John Wick. The trailer sells it as John Wick. It's not really John Wick from what I've heard.
They reference John Wick in the movie. Like they
Yeah.
are
Oh, right Right on.
They're fans
No,
of it for sure, but
Oh,
it's a
cool.
yeah.
Batman movie. It is a straight up Batman movie.
Like
Oh, cool.
in the first like 5-10 minutes, they're like, "Oh, you like John Wick?" Haha. And then like, and then I was like,
And
"That's
then
why the trailer says it is
yeah,
because
Oh.
it was that line."
Oh, okay. So,
because
so
they
it's a
go from like
little. Yeah. Okay.
it's a bit tongue in cheek at time, like
It's
at a couple little
yeah.
spots.
Okay.
It's got that kind of like that kind of Bollywood smirk to it, where like this is very serious, but also like we're gonna tell a joke here and there, not in the
Mhm.
Marvel sense, but in like the situation is begging for someone to make the joke.
There's the bit where
Mhm.
he tries to jump through the window and the window doesn't break and things
Oh
like that.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
There's a straight up badass, amazing, Fast and Furious level tuk chase.
Yes. It's the best thing ever where he's in this garage filled with the most amazing, expensive, high-end
Lambos and shit.
class like Lambos
And he gets a
and
tuk tuk.
and he gets the tuk tuk.
Is it as good as the tuk tuk chase in Indiana Jones 5 Seth?
Oh
All
god.
that green screen.
I'll leave this episode right now. I will not even talk about it again.
Coming soon to the final season of Film Rescue, Indiana Jones 5.
God.
Have fun fixing it, Seth. I
I
ain't
will.
doing it. Yeah. Yeah.
I could double hat trick. What are you talking about?
Okay. Jesus. Oh, so is there. Okay. Find one good thing in this original film. One.
Jeff
One.
Goldblum.
What was that?
Jeff Goldblum.
Thanks for being
Okay.
here, buddy.
Seth.
I'm sorry, did I just steal everyone's answer?
No. I mean, like, because that I'm trying to give it a genuine compliment because as I was watching it, I was like, I was sad that I that this was going to be along with its remake because I was like, oh no, this is going to be just an all downer episode. So I'm like searching
We
for
had to have it
something.
at some point. You know, we had to have one where it's just a bunch of stinkers. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm searching for something genuine. Oh, it depicts the cops as being bumbling idiots. Even if by accident, I appreciate that in a movie.
Yeah.
much appreciated. Okay.
That's it. That's all you'll get out of
Okay.
me.
For me, at least the tone is maintained the entire way through, unlike the remake, and it's 90 minutes. Moving on to the remake. Okay, so Seth, years ago, you tried to do this as a film rescue. Is that correct? And
I
then you
did.
lost the audio or something like that?
Yeah, or the audio turned out bad or something. It was as my first mixer was dying, I think, if I recall.
Mm.
And yeah, it was one of those episodes where like much like this one, we just walked into it going like, "Oh God, what are we gonna get out of this? Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Um, it this is a rough movie to watch.
Mm.
A, knowing what we know about Eli Roth. B, knowing what we know about Bruce Willis. C, watching Vincent D'Onofrio absolutely carry every single scene he's in
Yes.
on his
Yeah.
shoulder like Atlas, just going, "Come on, guys, we're actors. We could do this for real here."
But instead of
Poor
it being like Alice,
Vincent.
it's a Sisyphean feat, just trying to get that fucking thing up the hill, but never quite getting to the top.
God damn.
God, yeah, yeah. This remake also sucks. It also sucks, and knowing that Eli Roth is a fucking scumbag, and the Bruce Willis, he was going through his bad mental decline in the middle of this movie. Like we
Which
all
is
we
wild. Like you can see in the scenes that he shares with Vincent, he's
he's
gunning
good.
it. He's gassing it. Like it's like, oh, when there's an actor in the room with him to like play off of, he
Yeah.
could do this shit really
Mhm.
well. But so frustrating.
Yeah, it's very very rough. So
Like I know it was his aphasia was setting in and everything, but like there, and I know there's been stories of like how he has to be fed lines, how he was starting to forget things like
he would use an earpiece. He would
mhm.
feed lines to him. Yeah,
Yeah, they would feed him lines, or like if they would have to reset a scene where they're like eating dinner, he'd be like, I already ate, and then like they'd be
yeah,
like, oh no, it's for the scene, blah blah blah. Um and it's sad, like a lot of us didn't really realize that until after the fact. Like a
Mm.
lot of us for a while were just like, why is he just making such shitty movies?
yeah.
You know?
It's probably
And
because bigger studios may have known about this and they couldn't
mhm,
insure him.
Ooh.
right. And But a lot of us people just weren't aware of it, so we're just like, "What the fuck, Bruce? Like, you
Yeah.
were like
Yeah.
top tier, and now you're just doing this shit." And then
Yeah.
truth comes out, like, okay, it's making a lot more sense,
Yeah.
you
I,
know. And I feel bad because, like, all this, like, he is Bruce fucking Willis,
It's John
and
McClane, man. You
right.
know?
yeah, and you're just now realizing, like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. And a lot of it was probably like he was trying to get money to like pay for hospital bills and like make sure
Yeah.
his family's taken care of because he knew he was coming to an end.
Mm.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, at this point, he is now completely
Nonverbal.
nonverbal. He can't read. He can't
Wow.
read. He can't consume any media. He's basically an invalid. Basically, he
Poor
can't do anything.
guy. Poor
He
guy.
literally can't do anything because he can't consume any new information. His brain doesn't work. He may as well be dead. Like there's nothing happening in his head.
My grandma passed of ALS, and it's the opposite where your
My
body's
grandfather
dying.
passed of ALS as well.
Yeah, your
It
body
runs in
dies,
my
but your
family. I
brain
can't wait till
doesn't.
I get it. Jeez. Yeah. Does it like skip a generation? Something like that?
Yeah, it can skip generations. It's also like more likely to be passed if it's on the mother's side.
Right.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and there, there's just a lot of things in the air
There's a
about it,
lot
but
of
it's
key
just
factors in
yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of
genetic.
those things where like I think on the show we talk about ethics in filmmaking a lot, and part of ethics is like death ethics, right? And Bruce isn't gone yet, technically.
Yeah.
And so when he passes, that's going to be a huge deal for everybody because there's so many ways in which he's connected into people's lives. Like think
Mhm.
about think about somebody who would have only watched him in Moonlighters, and
Yeah.
that's their Bruce Willis, and then they
Mm-hmm.
see the news that he passes. Like that, we can kind of predict these situations out the
Or
front.
moonlighting. No, not moonlighters, moonlighting.
Moonlighting, yeah,
Yeah,
moonlighting.
moonlighting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's wild to think all of the impact that's going to come with that. And
Yeah.
Death Wish is just a drop in the bucket, thankfully.
Yeah, it's probably just a check so you could pay for hospital bills. That's all it was.
Yeah, and again, like knowing that now, I can see that a lot of the films he was doing was because of that.
Yeah.
Like because he did used to do like quality shit.
Yeah.
He would be like, "Hey, unless it's good, I'm not doing it," because he had the power to pick and choose. Like, good
Mhm.
for him. But
Something I like to think about too is there's an effect that comes with being on a crew working on a movie with this kind of actor in it, and I wonder if like because he was in this like red box slew of movies, if lots of other artists didn't maybe get chances they wouldn't have got because they could say, oh no, I was attached to a Bruce Willis movie.
right.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
Yeah.
like a spread of good that happens out of the back end of even some of his rougher red box movies. I'm hopeful for that at least. Like it
Mm-hmm.
feels philanthropic to take a name like the John McClane. You know what I mean? And to
Yeah.
Right.
do uh,
Yeah.
Once Upon
It
a Time
provides a
in
little
Venice.
bit more of it elevates your not so great movie.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's a lot of good that happened out the back because of that.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's also could have been a union thing. In order for actors to maintain their union membership, they have to be in a certain number of films and productions for a certain number of
Yeah.
days every year. That way they can maintain their insurance policies. So he probably did all those because studios knew he was a problem on set and they just
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to hire him because they couldn't insure him. So they said, okay, go do these smaller movies. You can still get paid your rate and you can keep your union membership and keep your insurance. It's probably what it was. It was probably just a business thing.
Well,
He
and
probably didn't want to do those crappy movies. He just didn't have a choice.
those sets are also going to allow for things like fed lines and a bug in the ear and things where like if he's signing up for a you know big director who's like known for their acting in their films, he's got to rehearse and he's got to remember his lines and like
Mm-hmm.
if your brain's not functionally doing that for you, it's not even fair to ask that of you. That is like
Right.
a literal
Yeah.
disability on his end. And so it's kind of like to me it's a little cool that other smaller studio movies would make the space for an actor with a disability like Bruce Willis and say, yeah, we'll work around that. We'll feed it to you, put it right in your ear. Um,
Yeah.
You know.
But then you hear stories about how he's on set and the directors don't know that, and he just like
Right.
Oof.
there was I think it was what was it Midnight in the Switchgrass, which is a terrible movie. Don't ever watch it.
Oof.
And he was told to kick. He was playing a police officer, and he's meant to kick in a door, and he was got to the set and didn't know why he was kicking in a door because he didn't understand he was on a set, and the
Right.
director's flipping the fuck out. Everyone's yelling, and he's just standing there confused. And it's like you end up with that situation when
Yeah.
it's. I know we're supposed to talk about this remake of Death Wish, but there's so little to actually discuss because it's generally the exact same movie, just updated to modern day.
But you can
It's
also see that in Death Wish, like he's supposed to be a surgeon, but
Mhm.
they only show him a lot of the times just standing there or just
Yeah, he's not doing much.
walking through the hallways. And I think that's plays into them working around what he could and cannot do
yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time. Because I'm like, normally if they have a surgeon, they're like showing him in surgery, blah 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 blah. Blah. But the only like one or two parts they show surgery, they probably switched out the hands so he wasn't there, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that plays a lot into it. Or how at the very beginning, you know, I think they kind of tongue in cheek around like him where his daughter in the film, like, oh, she gets into the school and he's just like stone face, and they're like, oh, could you be any more excited?
Mm.
And he's probably
Yeah.
just like,
Doesn't know where
why
he
am I
is.
like, he's like, why am I excited?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Rough. But the
Yeah.
movie's got its own internal issues beyond Bruce Willis, and
Yeah.
I
So
must
what's
I must speak on them. I must.
Jolly
yes.
Rogers, what the fuck?
Oh God.
Can we
Just
just talk about the Jolly Rogers bit? Like, what the
that
hell?
I will say this. I said this to Hope when I was watching the remake. Now that we're finally back to talking about the movie. So I said I was okay with the first half hour. I was like, this is not bad. It's a little dull. It's just a little pedestrian, but I was like, okay, it's I'm okay with it. And then you get to where ACDC starts playing, and that's where I was like, no, that's it. That's where this completely flips everything. This is completely tonally inaccurate. That was where I was like, nope, I can see the bullshit coming a mile away. And yep,
It's
I was right.
it's tonally accurate to the mindset of the people that are fans of the original Death Wish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
completely missed the point.
Okay, so
Did they see you? No, I had my head down. What?
I screamed about it for a minute earlier. It really, this is what fucked with me. I was kind of excited for this movie before it came out. Genuinely, at the time, Eli Roth was not a bag of dicks, and
Yeah.
at the time, Bruce Willis, nothing about this was known about him, and I heard that the setup was that he's a doctor now, and I shit you not, my brain invented the best version of this movie, which was Eli Roth is going to pull a Hostel with Death Wish, and it's going to be about a
Yes.
surgeon kidnapping people off the street, vigilante style, and just like picking them apart, right?
Yeah. Dexter
Yep.
style. Yeah, Dexter, basically.
And I was like, and Bruce Willis doing that? Okay, that weird turn, but like I'm thinking Unbreakable. I'm thinking like, yeah, he's done movies with
Yeah.
weird turns and roles. I'm like, this could be really excellent. Also, side note: even if they didn't have Bruce Willis, Vincent D'Onofrio could have led this movie. And
Oh
been
God, yeah,
the surgeon doctor.
absolutely.
Oh,
Oh my god!
beautiful. It would have been amazing.
Yeah. Was this around the time that Daredevil was starting up, or was Daredevil already happening around this time?
Yeah, Daredevil had already started. Yeah, so he was in his upswing of like, oh no, motherfucker, I'm not done. We're doing
Okay.
shit still.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he definitely looks like he lost
Like,
a lot of weight to do
His
this. He does.
Kingpin era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not Kingpin size in this film, but he's big,
Yeah.
but not as big as he was in that show. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of stoked for this going into it, and then they didn't utilize any of this. You have a
Yeah.
horror director known for his gore
Mm-hmm.
with a setup of a guy that is okay with killing people, and I love the car scene. I love the car engine scene. Killing Joe is
Oh yeah,
Oh,
when he
so
drops
Jack's
the
gonna
car.
kill
it's a
you.
great
Boom.
scene in like a vacuum, but goddamn, the man is a surgeon. He should be taking people's kneecaps off. He should
Yeah.
be unhinging their jaws from their faces. Like,
Enucleations,
oh,
something.
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. There's a Garth Ennis comic. One of his World War II comics. It was about back in World War II. There was a event that happened. I believe it was Japanese soldiers captured nurses that were helping the Allies and took them out to a beach, and they just shot them, and all their bodies were spread throughout on the beach.
Whoa.
The story I think is what if one of them survived and got back to an Allied encampment, resumed her job as a nurse, and then Japanese POWs come in to her ward, and she takes revenge on them by killing them.
Ooh.
What is the opposite of Nightingale syndrome?
Yeah, it's like the beginning part is based in reality, but after that it's all a fictional story. But it's
Oh yeah.
what
Right.
what if you could take revenge as a nurse, like just what's the Hippocratic oath, what if that just didn't apply? Fuck
Yeah.
them. You know,
Yeah.
they are the enemy. Fuck them.
Yeah.
You know, that makes sense because she also did get shot several times, so it makes sense as why she'd be pissed off and angry.
It's
Totally.
also wartime.
It's war times. Like, fuck it. There's rules in war. Really? Are there? Are there rules? Because apparently nobody wants to follow them.
Yes, the civilized rules of war, because killing
Jesus.
people can be done a right way.
No. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. All I can think about right now is the whitest kid you know, polite war. He's like, no guffawing, no guffawing. All right, gentlemen, volleys at the ready. And then, I say, sir, I took one volley. It is now my turn to take a volley. You see, this is how we do it, back and forth. This is a polite way. Gosh. Like,
Oh, God. There's a bit in that movie, The Patriot, which is a terrible fucking movie, but I think it's what's the guy's name? Tom Wilkinson, who recently passed away. He's saying that we should fight orderly, like gentlemen. And Mel Gibson's just like, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, the middle of that
Yeah.
movie, all the like pioneer guerrilla warfare, fantastic.
Awesome.
There's a lot of trappings in that are so bad, but that part's
Yeah.
really good.
It's basically just a revenge story wrapped in a, hey, let's be the upstanding patriots. But it's, God, the right wingers love to lean on that movie as a fucking hinge for their bullshit. Anyways, yeah, just this remake, the tone is so all over the place that you
Mm.
can't settle into anything.
Yeah.
Is it meant to be funny? Is it meant to be over the top? Like the end of the movie where he kicks open the drawer and the gun just pops out and just blasts that guy against the wall. That
yeah.
does not fit with the first 30 minutes of this movie.
Oh, you didn't like when he home aloned his house into a Republican death trap?
Yeah, like it turns into fucking Saw. Like I'm just what is this?
What should
You
have
know?
been, that was the whole movie, I would be here cheering for the movie. That's the funny part. Like if
Yeah.
that had been your tone the entire time, I'd be cheering.
Yeah, it's not self-aware enough to justify it being there.
Mm. I have
God.
another gigantic issue with the movie.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
So this is our movie about vigilantes, right?
Yeah.
And vigilantes are doing things against the law. So that means they have wrapped their head around the fact that they are doing something ethically wrong, correct?
Yeah.
He then goes and buys a legal gun, and the movie takes a week off to say, this is the right way to go buy a gun, everybody.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, I'm really worried about that in my movie where the man is, again, murdering people.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of with that is like that's his cover story.
The cover story is cool. Why include it? Why does the
No, I
movie
know,
need to
it's
take a
dumb.
detour to be
Yeah.
like, this is the right way to buy a gun in our murder movie?
Maybe it's a reaction to the Parkland shooting that happened right before this film came out. Maybe they
That-
just shot that scene quick and just shoved it in. That's another thing. This came out at the worst possible time. I mean, granted, shootings happen all the time across America. We have the highest gun rate death in the world.
Yeah.
In the world.
Well,
No
we make
shit.
movies like this that worship the kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, when you have right wing chuckle fucks saying that, oh, we need more guns on the street. Do you fucking shut up?
Dude, I just watched.
I love it whenever all the right wingers like say, well, if we had less guns, everybody's gonna be like, well, we'll just stab people. You know, it's like, yes, because it's so easy to stab somebody from 25 feet away.
Yeah, I'll stab a whole school.
No, I was gonna say I just watched the documentary "The Truth versus Alex Jones."
Oh my
Ooh,
god,
how
what a
was that?
cocksucker!
I I was disgusted. I was sick. I was crying. I was like, I think the biggest thing that got me wasn't the fact that he was saying this shit, because we're always gonna have people out there who like say this shit, but like the fact that he was saying like that Sandy Hook was like staged, that the
Mm,
Yeah.
whole town was in on it,
mm.
that it was fake. I was like, okay, it's fucked up, but you gotta have these cocksuckers out there. Like, he was in the middle of court trying to sell his vitamins to the judge.
I bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I think what really got me was the fact that I would say maybe 1/5 of Americans believed him.
Mhm.
The fact that that
He's
number,
friends with Joe Rogan. Like
the
they've
Yeah,
been
fact
making
that
there's
that
movies
so
together
number
yeah.
for
was
decades.
so high,
Yeah.
that such a high number believed that this was all fake, that there were so many people attacking these parents who just lost their children.
Yeah.
Like, there's one woman who's like, oh well, if your kid's dead, exhume the body. I'm like, you don't fucking ask somebody that.
Yeah.
That's not a human asking that question. Like you can't
Yeah,
be
No,
a
I
person and ask that of someone.
yeah, that this is why I would say
especially
if
your child. Like, that
yeah.
that is your child. You're not supposed to bury your child,
Yeah.
especially your baby child.
Yeah.
And the fact that like, so like I was totally disgusted. I like, it's a good documentary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Did he lose all of his
disgusted.
money or is he still active on his
He is, as of last month, they said he has not paid a dime to reparations. He is still continuing his show, still continuing his sales. And the fact of the matter is, he lost every case he was in, and he's supposed
Yeah.
to be paying out this money, still hasn't paid a dime.
Wow.
You know, typically if you're a poor person and you don't pay, they arrest you. If you're a rich person, they just, say, you probably don't need to pay right now.
And that's another thing that pissed me off too.
Yeah.
Oof.
That he
Cops are not
slammed.
there to protect you. They're there to protect rich people. They don't
God
care
damn.
about you. Yeah.
Well, that's
So
my rant for the day.
yeah, it's a
This
great
is
documentary. It's also disgusting and horrible, and Alex Jones is a disgusting piece of shit. If you are somebody that likes people like Alex Jones or Joe Rogan or Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro, you are the scum of the earth. You are the worst possible human being because these are people that actively hate genuine kindness and compassion. These are awful human beings.
like
That's not
I
even a debate.
I honestly don't understand. Like, you have to actively, in order to
Disconnect
like,
from reality to
not
make
even
their
that,
logic
but
make
like,
sense.
I would rather just like be kind to people because it's easier. I have to put so much more energy into hate.
Mm.
Like, when you really think about it, you have to actively hate and show
Mhm.
anger, you know? Whereas, like, to be nice to someone, if you actually are nice, it's so passive.
It
Now with
doesn't
these,
tax you. It taxes you to be
right,
angry. It taxes you to
exactly,
to exist in those emotions. It's not taxing to be kind.
Yeah.
right. Just like Vincent D'Onofrio's character in Death Wish, he was like, hey, I just got a job. I wanted to repay you the money. That's all I'm trying to say. He was like trying to actively be nice. He's trying to check up on his brother-in-law. He's
Yeah.
trying to check up on his niece. Like, he was pissed off about the situation, but he was still actively nice. Whereas Paul Kersey, his character was just like, no, I'm just gonna kill people. Like, you have to
Yeah.
actively summon that hate and
Mm.
anger, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could throw in a quick film rescue, a way to make this film kind of function a little bit, Paul dies at the end. He and the main bad guy kill each other at the end, and the Vincent D'Onofrio takes care of his daughter. That's it. That's a way you can give me some kind of a blip in the
Right.
radar on this thing because showing that vigilantism. I mean, I don't subscribe to the idea that people say if you seek revenge, dig two graves. I don't believe that. There has been thousands, if not millions of people that have committed revenge in this world, and they've actively gotten away with it and gone on to live happy lives.
Yeah.
I would
Mhm.
say if you wish to take revenge, be ready to die alone. Because it will ruin you mentally
Mhm.
unless you're a complete sociopath. So
I
yeah.
think if to go along with that ending, my change would be he dies in a criminal shootout, and then he's counted among the criminals at the end. Like
Mm-mm.
the movie
Mm.
ends on how, like, maybe even like a Dateline 60-minute special. How did this well off surgeon become a criminal mastermind and was killed
Yeah.
in
Right.
in this shootout? And it's like, whoa, your legacy will be haunting.
Yeah.
Something like that would
Like they
would
go back to
really
the
underpin
whole
it.
like, oh, well, a lot of these are gang violences, and they could have been like, oh, Surgeon Paul Kersey is now the gang mastermind, like you're saying, like,
Right. Gang
yeah,
violence creeping into our doctor's offices. You can see the
right,
headline, right?
Yeah, you can just see the Fox News headline right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
oh yeah, make it a Fox News bit. So it's
Yeah,
like
where's
it's just
why,
really
yeah, why is it that it's always like radio shows that are portrayed as being the only source of media? Like where's like Fox News, where's CNN? Like shouldn't that be covering some of this? Where,
Eli Roth
I
is
guess they
not
couldn't
willing
get
to take those
rights.
pot shots at his employers.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Because apparently Fox and CNN are owned by the same company, guys. Don't know if you know that.
Anywho,
Anyways, yeah, I
I
remember
watch BBC.
yeah, when Jason Aaron finished his run of Punisher Max years ago, which is now the Max line is now defunct. Because hey, Disney, thanks. When he finished his run of Punisher Max, the way he killed Frank was that he just dies in a regular shootout.
Wow.
It's just a normal shootout. There's nothing special to it. Nothing special. He dies outside of his house that's now been dilapidated and is boarded up. And they just
Wow.
keep shooting him over and over again. His willpower won't let him die. And finally he just dies. And at his funeral, the only person that shows up, Nick Fury. Nobody else. Nobody cares.
Wow.
He's the only one there.
Wow.
Nobody gives a shit.
Nick Fury's the fucking Grim Reaper.
Yeah, it's classic Nick Fury. Classic old, like
Okay, good.
grizzled,
Yeah.
Vietnam vet Nick Fury. Just like he says one thing, you were one of the best, Frank, and then just says, yeah, put him in the ground. And then walks away. Nobody cares. Nobody visits his grave.
Okay, here's all right. All right. We'll fill this last hour in. You switched us into film rescue mode, and now I'm
Yeah.
thinking about
But
Punisher
because
stories.
because there's not enough in the remake to really talk about because it's such a near carbon copy, even almost time wise. The only thing that adds in an extra 10 minutes is the Jolly Roger stuff, which you could excise from the film wholesale. Then it's still 90 minutes.
Right.
It's basically it's not really a clone because it's just the tone is so fucked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like film rescue mode. Go, Seth.
Well, okay. So specifically a Punisher story I'd want to see.
Okay.
I love the idea that like he's
Let's see if
killed.
you're the one you suggest is actually going to be one that I know.
Okay, so my thought is he's killed so many people. He's left basically a large generation fatherless. And
Mhm.
what if it was like him having to deal with a group of young mercenaries who he like killed their fathers straight up, and they banded together to go take out the Punisher, and he's basically like
Are we Kill Bill in this?
yeah, he's like, I can't fault you
That
guys.
kind of exists, kind of. So there's a storyline called the Widowmaker. It's probably one of the most depressing of all the stories that Ennis wrote.
Ooh,
Um, Basically, all the wives of the mafia guys, all their husbands are dead, so they gang together and say, "Let's kill the Punisher." Because they're
that's
in charge of the
awesome.
mafia now. Like, there's nobody left. There's no one left, so they're in charge. And one
Okay.
of the wives who was it goes into like how the mafia actively beats women and
Mhm,
actively
mhm, mhm.
secludes them from society.
Right.
This one woman was actively beaten and tortured her whole life that she developed breast cancer and had to have a double mastectomy.
Whoa.
And they couldn't completely get rid of the cancer, so she's already gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
So she teams up with Frank, and he is he's laid up badly injured for the majority of the story, and she takes his vest and goes out and becomes the Punisher herself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a good
Okay.
story. It's
That
pretty
sounds
good.
cool. Yeah.
It also that's also the part of the Budiansky storyline where it gets into like school shootings and things like that. So there's
Mm.
people that want to be the Punisher, like, yeah, wouldn't it be great to be the Punisher? And then like Budiansky tries to behave like him at one point. He's a cop that's just kind of like pushed over the edge a little bit. And
Ooh.
then at the end of the story, Frank just looks at him and just says, "You really want to be like me?" Which is this like these sunken eyes, just like, you really want to be like me. This guy has lost his family. He has no life. He has nothing but waking up every morning and go out and killing people. There's nothing in his life. There's no joy. There's no happiness. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the Punisher. So every one of you right wing chuckle fucks that keeps wearing that shirt or going out there and saying like, "I'd love to be the Punisher." You put that fucking lapel on your police uniform. You can shut the fuck up.
The Punisher would kill you. Just saying.
Yeah, just so you
Canonically.
know,
Canonically.
and just so you know, on January 6th, you guys think he would be alongside you? No, he'd be at the top of those steps, ready to shoot any of you pieces of shit that try to kick in
Mhm.
those doors.
It sounds like AI fan art. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Oh my
just
god.
Frank with a big ass machine gun at the top of the steps. Just
Yeah, yeah. There's one story. I think it's he calls all the mafia guys to one place, and every single one of them is like, "You called us here. What did you want?" It's like, "No, you called us here. What do you want?" And then Frank calls and says, "Why would I want all of you guys in the same place at the same time?" And the last shot is a full page shot of him at the top of the steps with an M60. It's like, yeah, you know what he's gonna do. It's like, oh, that's classy. Yeah, it's good. There you go, Frank. Yeah.
There you
damn.
go.
That's the tone this movie needed, is that if you're gonna say this guy
Yeah.
is like, just lean into the satire, lean into it being funny, like make it
Right.
like Sam Raimi's Death Wish or something like that, or just some
Ooh.
kind of a just a
It's funny you
comedy
say
version.
it's funny you say that because Liam Neeson was supposed to be the lead in this when they initially started trying to reboot it.
Oh, that perfectly
Really?
tracks.
It would have been Liam Neeson, Frank Grillo was the
Uh
like pairing that they
oh.
wanted to do.
Well, didn't
Okay.
Frank Grillo in was it The Purge 2? It's basically a Punisher movie.
Oh yeah, straight up. It's the
Oh
best
yeah.
Punisher movie that exists.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll see what happens with Daredevil Born Again, because apparently Frank is back. So, and
Frank's
you are
back.
right. You are right. His uniform, I was like, why is he wearing an American flag on his uniform? He killed a cop and took his uniform and put the Punisher logo on. It's like, okay, yeah, he's killing cops now. Like, it's to shut all the fucking assholes up.
Yeah, dude, Disney
I know
swinging.
you got so mad over that.
I was
You're like,
so
"Ah, blah,
mad,
blah, blah,
and then I
blah."
looked into it. I was like, "Oh yeah, he killed a cop. He killed a corrupt cop and took his uniform." Like, he's Frank's back. Okay, I get it now.
I was ready to be mad with you, and then I was thinking, no, this is like new Disney. They're hiring in writers that are like trying to rewrite some history. I bet that's what
Mhm.
they're doing
They
here.
literally
Yeah.
rewrote it. They shot about half the season and said, "Nah, it's not working. Let's just start all over again."
Right.
Damn.
Because they were trying to make it like Marvel is now with the movies, where it's like, "Oh, it's jokey and it's funny." It's like, doesn't fit with Daredevil, dude.
No.
I
Don't do
wonder.
that.
No.
Stop it.
I
We're done
wonder.
with it.
I wonder if
Can,
they did that because of Echo. Did you guys watch Echo?
no,
No,
but I'm
like
currently
if
watching X-Men 97 and holy shit.
Same. Also, are you okay? Are you caught up? And are you okay?
uh,
One, I am caught up. Two, I am not okay.
was
I'm
it
so
like
sorry.
spoilers? I've seen the memes. I'm like, is somebody die or something like that?
Yeah.
Let me just say, for this character, I have the very first issue where they are in it but not named, and then I have the next 3 issues of their comic where they're fully in. I have the entire series of all the comics they're in. I Let's just say I definitely cried.
Okay. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Oh, okay. All right. Okay,
It is.
now I understand what that quote that was posted. Okay, I get it
It was
now.
a beloved
That is
character.
fucked up.
Oh man, and dude, and it was right after he had just completed.
They stomped on him and then killed him. I was like, you
Truly,
do not do that to my man.
they
You
they
do not fucking do that to my
they
man.
kicked his nuts and then they killed him. Is what happened.
Wow. Ooh.
Um.
Damn.
So, anyways, X-Men '97. No, I was bringing up Echo because Echo is excellent for the first like 90%, and then its finale is like.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it led to like rewrites across the board for that like kind of street level Marvel stuff they're doing, and I'm wondering if that tied into the Daredevil stuff.
Maybe.
It's possible because Marvel's trying to find out, like, hey, why is no one going to see the movies anymore? Because they're all fucking comedies. Like, we're sick of it, dude. I'm tired
Yeah.
of it.
And the
I, I'm,
ones
I'm
that
at.
aren't are Secret Invasion and just absolute stinkers.
Oh,
Ugh.
Christ, Jesus Christ. What do you mean we can't use AI to write our scripts?
Please don't.
Please don't. Just just get the AI to just do my laundry and my dishes and my taxes. That's all I care about. Let
Oh,
me do the other stuff.
in our
So,
lifetime, AI taxes for sure.
yeah,
I
AI
can't wait.
taxes. Yeah.
That is exactly what they're made for.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, don't watch either of these. Neither one of these is worth your time or your energy. Like I said, just the Red Letter Media episode where they talk about Death Wish 3 is hilarious. That's it. I would never recommend any of this. I'd recommend some Punisher comics. I'd recommend
X-Men 97.
X-Men 97. Is there any other vigilante stuff that's actually worth it? Like actually gets the point? What was that movie with
Batman.
what's
Monkey Man. Monkey Man. Go see Monkey Man.
Okay,
yeah,
man.
or the John Wick franchise are kind of vigilante films, kind of, but they're
Yeah,
all
See
bad.
Monkey Man.
They're all bad guys, so it's not really a vigilante thing. It's more of a straight revenge thing. Um,
yeah. The vigilante aspect is like, to me, it has to have the crime take place in the plot to
yeah.
then like answer it with the active crime in
Oh,
response. So,
Blue Ruin, be
yeah,
a good one.
Blue Ruin's a great example. I was
Yeah,
thinking,
Macon.
Straw
Yeah,
is it Straw Dogs?
Straw
Straw
Dogs.
Dogs. Yeah,
Straw Dogs is one where it's like
that remake will end up on here at some point. That one's a little rough.
ooh, yeah, you see the crime and then you see the crime response to the crime. And so like
Yeah.
and the point
What's
of
that
that
movie?
one.
The was it the Rhythm Section? It was Ryan Reynolds' wife is in it. What the hell's her name?
Oh
Blake
yeah.
Lively.
Blake
Blake
Lively. Yeah,
Lively.
it's not great, but it's okay. It's got its moments. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, vigilantism. It's just you have to acknowledge the world around you. If you're gonna say it's a vigilante story, you have to acknowledge the political ramifications of that.
Mm.
And if you're not willing to address that, then you're missing the point entirely.
Well, and if your way to address that is to say, "Oh no, crime actually went down," I don't believe your movie. It's just not.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, because people would be copycatting and they would be doing it all the
Yep.
time. Like there's multiple Punisher storylines where like, oh, more people pretending to be the Punisher show up, and there was a storyline called Punishers where it's like him with a team. It's like that's so
No.
fucked.
No. No.
Yeah,
Who's your
it just
boss?
doesn't.
Frank Castle. Oh God, are you
Ugh,
okay? How's
ugh.
your insurance?
Oh,
God.
not very good. He'll just replace you if you get shot. Jesus.
Frank Castle giving you insurance is him ensuring that you will die on a mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
So.
kid, you may not make it out of here alive, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing
I
to make.
just saw this one meme where it's like 911. I think my friend is not. I think my friend is dead. What's happening? They're like, well, can you make sure that they're dead? And they like take out a gun and shoot him. They're like, okay, now what?
God.
Frank Castle doing medical first
Oh.
aid. Make sure he's still alive. Okay, he's definitely not still alive. What now?
Yeah. First thing I ever wrote, this is a little side tangent to wrap it up. The first thing I ever wrote was a Punisher Max one shot.
That's cool.
I pitched it to Marvel, never heard back. For obvious reasons I'm about to tell you in about 5 seconds. It was a storyline called Too Young to Die, and it was about what would happen if Frank Castle got caught in the crossfire of a school shooting.
Oh God.
That's-
Yeah, it was
Okay.
really fucking dark, and he actually, it was it was an ethical question of would Frank be willing to shoot a child? And
Oh,
my analysis was no, because it's like, 'cause it reminds him too much of his own kids. But then Jason Starr wrote a storyline like 3 years later in a Punisher Max one shot where he does shoot a 15-year-old in the head, and I was like, okay, I guess Jason Starr knows better than I do. That's fine. That wasn't a great one shot. It's like he's like strung up by a bunch of hillbillies in a barn, and it just they kill each other
Okay.
off, and then he breaks out, and then he shoots the kid. It's like it's not good. Yeah,
interesting.
but it's all about how society essentially just looks at the school shooting and just says, "Oh, it's just another shooting. Like, it doesn't matter." But it kind of deeply affects him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got that script somewhere. I know the writing's probably not good, uh, but yeah, it was an ethical question and never heard back.
Mm.
no
So
worries.
yeah,
But
it's vigilanteism. You need to address the political elements, otherwise it's just pointless.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Monkey
So
Man.
Monkey Man. Yeah, John Wick. Yeah. So. All right, so for our next episode, we're going into a much happier place. We're doing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory versus Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I can't wait.
One of those is really good.
It's been a
Should
minute.
we do
We've got to talk about
another
Tim
with the new Wonka with Timothée Chalamet?
Mike has been on me to watch that, and I could not be paid to give a shit.
Burton. Okay.
I just don't fucking care.
It's on Max right now, so we
Yeah,
wouldn't have to pay to
it's
rent it.
free.
If either of you end up watching it between now and then, let me know, and I will also check it out.
Okay.
I will attempt.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably not rewatching either of these going into it because I've seen them both so recently.
Oh, 1,000 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. These are locked and ready. Charlie the Chocolate. I love the kids as a book or the books as a kid.
Yeah.
They were some of my favorites.
I may watch the Timothée Chalamet one just for shits and giggles.
It's the Paddington director. That's the thing. I'm like, he can't have fucked up that bad.
My favorite
He's
film is
excellent.
Paddington 2. You will cry.
Paddington 2 is a great movie.
Oh god. Yeah. Was that what was that
Incredible Weight of Massive Talent.
that's it. The long ass title that I can't ever remember. That's right. But yeah. So I'm just gonna rewatch Willy Wonka and just be happy because I
Yeah.
like Gene Wilder a lot.
Oh, I love him.
So yeah, sorry guys, sorry about this one. I know it was a pair of stinkers. Neither of these are worth your time. I apologize.
We got him off the list. That's what matters.
Yep.
Off the list, and we kind of sort of got your film rescue in there, Seth. We've
Yeah,
rectified a mistake from years ago.
Squeezed it in.
A little bit, yep.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm glad that episode didn't come out because at the time we didn't know about Bruce Willis, and so it was a lot of like, God damn, why can't Bruce Willis get his shit together? And so I'm
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we have a much more empathetic.
It was
episode
Bob
on it.
Ross happy accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Red Letter Media did their the Bruce Willis Movie Machine Factory episode, it was like all of his Redbox things. They were like, why does he keep doing these? Like at the time they didn't know, nobody knew. And then that stuff came out and then they issued an apology. It's
Yeah.
like, we're sorry, we apologize. We're not gonna take the video down, but we apologize.
Yeah.
As they
Yeah,
should.
I mean, it's all ignorance, honestly. Like,
As long as we learn from it.
As long as you learn from it, which is not what Paul Kersey did at all through either one of these movies.
Great button. Shut the fuck up and end.
Didn't
this
learn
episode.
shit, did he? Good night, everybody. Don't watch either of these.